How's it going, everybody? So, this is our El Burrito Podcast, and this will be our very first episode.
If we're calling it that, we're not sure about that yet.
Yeah, we're not sure yet. Well, I guess we'll know for sure.
Point is, it's our podcast, and it's on El Burrito blog, so I guess for now, it's the El Burrito Podcast.
Yep, we're going to go with that for now until further notice. My name is Blake Hall, and this is my good buddy John Queener here.
Hey, John. I'm John.
Yep, this is
John.
John.
That's Blake.
Hello, my name is Blake.
Hell yeah. All right, so we kind of have a sort of format going here. The basic gist of each episode is we're going to talk about any movies and shows we've seen and any new music we've been listening to, just kind of be able to have a chance to talk about new media, movies, all that, the stuff you people are interested in. And then we're going to get down to picking one song each and just talk about what we love about it, a little song appreciation moment. And some weeks we'll have more to say than others, but every week we're at least going to have song appreciation. But without further ado, I guess we'll get it started. Blake, did you watch any good new movies or shows or listen to any new music this week?
This week, not necessarily anything new, brand new.
Anything you haven't seen before, or anything new, whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter, man.
I saw.
If it's new to you, it's new.
Yeah, well, I saw Birds of Prey actually a little bit earlier this week, and I gotta say, that movie's getting a lot of hate.
It's bombing. Well,
I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, it was a fantastic film in my opinion.
Really, yeah.
And the reason why I liked it so much is because it had so much energy to it.
Really?
It felt like truly original filmmaking. It had great characterization, and again, the energy was just top notch. Like you're in the mindset of this warped, character, which is Harley Quinn. And yeah, it really has that like classic, like a lot of classic films have, like Clockwork Orange, for example, like where you're in a crazed mindset. It's awesome.
See, I kind of been writing off pretty much all the DC Universe stuff for a while, and especially like this one because it reminded me so much of Suicide Squad, which is like probably it's bottom 10 worst movies I've ever seen.
I've heard bad things about that.
It was an exhausting watch.
But
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, and I'll say a lot of people I know were trying to clean up like the mistakes of Suicide Squad with this film.
Yeah.
And actually give the justice the Harley Quinn deserves, because she's a great character. I'll admit I don't know much about I'm not a big superhero guy myself, so I don't know a lot about the backstory. But I know that Harley Quinn's a great character and she deserved a great film. And
I have no idea what they try to write her backstory as in this movie, but the general accepted backstory is that she was Joker's doctor in Arkham.
Exactly.
And then he turned her, so it's a cool little thing, and she is definitely a screwed up character. I've been hearing people really like this movie, but apparently it's been like the worst in terms of box office for DC, which is like, I understand why, because they've had a lot of stinkers, and at a certain point people just don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. People are tired of the same formula, so I think that people just want something new, and I think lately a good trend I'm seeing, and this started with Joker, which came out last year, is just that I don't think
Joker could be any different, like tone-wise, from this film.
No, it's very different. They're very different films, but I think they both do have that thing of they're just taking, they're kind of blending, comic book origin stories with just kind of classic filmmaking, really. Like, Joker took a lot from like Martin Scorsese, but like this one took a lot from like a Tarantino type of it.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, and I really felt the influence.
That is something I'm really excited for. Is that I feel like for the last 10 or so years, superhero movies has been kind of like, all right, let's get it right and let's make them okay, and Marvel's done a good job of that, but I really hope they start to focus on like, okay, now let's get people who are like really gifted storytellers to tell unique stories in a stylistic way. Like ever since Edgar Wright was forced out of Ant-Man, that was such a bummer, and then we got Scott Derrickson being forced out of Doctor Strange 2, but we got Sam Raimi on that now, so that's cool.
Awesome. I'm cool with that. Yeah,
but
Sam Raimi's awesome.
I really look forward to the day when auteur filmmakers can come in and make a superhero film, and it can fit in their storyline or their cinematic universe or whatever, and still be its own unique vision instead of it just being a paint by numbers sort of thing.
Yeah, I think we're all tired of the formula, and honestly, since I was a kid, I've always kind of been a fan of the idea of these superhero movies, but a lot of them just really do kind of follow that same formula, and I'm just kind of like, it's just nice to finally see that they're taking an interesting direction.
All right, yeah. So did you see anything else?
Well, I did revisit a few favorites. Yesterday I watched, I had a double feature. I was off yesterday, so I watched Barton Fink and Mulholland Drive. I need to rewatch Barton Fink. I watched it in my screenwriting class a few years ago, and I remember that movie just escalates so it's
hardcore.
One of my favorite films, man. And I feel like those two made a good because I know you haven't seen David Lynch
Mulholland
yet.
Drive. I'll get to that. I got stuff to talk about regarding David Lynch.
Oh yes, and I'm telling you, I bug this guy like every time I see him about David Lynch and just Twin Peaks in particular.
Yeah,
but Mulholland Drive. And Barton Fink, I think, made a good double feature because they're both films that sort of show Hollywood as a hellhole. It looks all glamorous and beautiful on the outside, but they go there and it's hell basically. And I think these films in their own unique way sort of showcase this. So yeah, it was an awesome double feature, really.
That's
And I
great.
recommend anyone to try that. So
Yeah. Anything else you want to say, or want to just move on?
not really, unless you had any films or songs
So
recently.
I did not watch any films this week, but I started watching a TV show that I'd never seen before called Twin Peaks. So I'm only 4 episodes in, and I've got. This is going to be an interesting discussion. So I knew the first episode of Twin Peaks is interesting in that it sets up the mystery really well. It's like, okay, and you meet these characters, and it seems pretty straightforward. And then I'd say it's like around the beginning of the second episode, and definitely by the end of that second episode, you're like, oh, this is really weird. This is really weird. And it's just Agent Cooper just, investigating a murder and being super serious about like, oh, we should murder, do lacerations and horrible death, horrible tragedy. He's like, give me your best cup of coffee. It's like so goofy.
I know, he's like such an offbeat like hero. Like, I mean, to me, he's like the coolest because he's like I think he's a new concept of hero. He's like the intuitive hero. It's like he's like a kind of a bit of a Boy Scout in a way, but he's so cool, man. He can solve all this.
Fascinated by this town.
He's fascinated by this town. He's fascinated by Mystique in general. And that's like what he's all about. He follows his intuition to solve these like mysteries, and it's so endlessly cool and fascinating.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You're watching. That was a nice surprise. I honestly didn't know this prior to this.
Yeah, that's why I hid it from
I'm glad you kept it from me.
It was really cool. I'm only 4 episodes in.
Oh, awesome.
I have to say, I'm temporarily pausing that because I was about to watch the 5th episode. I sat down with my dinner, pulled up Netflix, and the first thing I saw was, hey, John, Better Call Saul Season 4 is now on Netflix. And I'm like, So Season 3 of Better Call Saul ended in a huge cliffhanger, so I had to jump in there and that. I've only watched 2 episodes of it so far.
How is it?
It's still just as fantastic as all the previous ones. Still so intense, such great performances, and just I can't wait till the series is over so I can watch it all the way through again and then go through Breaking Bad again and then watch El Camino and cap it off. And oh my god,
you got the whole series right there. And I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, but I've never even seen Better Call Saul. I've seen like a few episodes.
It's funny because like they kind of, when it was announced, I was like, oh, that'd be a neat little spin-off about Saul, but it's like it goes so much into so many more things. There's a lot of Mike in it. You see a lot of his early jobs that he does. You learn more of his backstory. And it goes into the cartel wars between Gus Fring and Hector Salamanca.
So you get more like origin story of Gus in general?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, well, by the time you meet him, he's already got his empire going.
Right.
But it shows
this is before Walter White comes
Oh
to
yes,
the picture,
absolutely. And it shows his war between him and Hector Salamanca and everything, and it's fantastic. It's so good. Can't recommend it enough.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I love Breaking Bad universe. I gotta sit down and just watch that. Sounds awesome.
One more thing I want to say about Twin Peaks. So, Twin Peaks is one of those series that like so many people are such huge fans of. You can see its influence on lots of things. One thing you can see its influence on is one of my all-time favorite games, Life is Strange. And I was recently going back, and when I was watching Twin Peaks, I was like, oh wow, I really, really see the influence. So Life is Strange and Twin Peaks both take place in a Pacific Northwest small town.
Yeah, I've heard about
Life is Strange, the main plot point is, hey, this girl's gone missing and you gotta find her. And so there's a mystery, you uncover conspiracies, and there's a weird cast of... All the characters in Life is Strange are really distinct and have distinct personalities, are interesting. And I mean, it's abundantly clear playing that game that the creators were fans. I mean, there's really, I'm sure there's some obscure references in the game, but I mean, there's just Fire Walk with Me graffiti in like the bathroom in one of the rooms. And there's even someone who just has a license plate that just has Twin Peaks. It's like super obvious that they love that show.
That's really cool. Yeah, and I've always heard that, man. I've always heard that if you love Twin Peaks, like this game is like the soul, like it's like a soul follow-up.
That I think it's a Deadly Premonition.
That's the one.
That one I think is even more accurate to Twin Peaks because you play as an investigator who's a complete weirdo, and it's almost like. The thing with video games is there's not bad video games like The Room. There's not stuff like that where it's so bad it's good very often because if a bad game just plays really poorly. Deadly Premonition, I've heard, is the closest it comes to it because it's kind of corny and kind of weird.
I got this, man. That's the one I've always been hearing about.
It's one of those things I don't know that I would want to play it myself, but there are plenty of playthroughs on YouTube where you can kind of watch people play through it and just experience it for yourself.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm glad you're into the show, man. Man, you got quite a journey ahead of you. I'm really excited to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, man.
You got to suffer through a little slump at the end of season 2, but it's worth it because season 3 is my favorite season of television.
So yeah, that season is not on Netflix, so I'll have to borrow that.
Oh, I got you, man. I completely got you on that.
All right, well, usually we would just probably move on straight to our song discussion, but I mean, I always want to talk about anything new in movies and stuff, and I mean, we had to pick the first week for this to be right after the Oscars.
Mere coincidence.
So I decided to pick a couple of the biggest Oscars, Best Picture, Original Screenplay, and all the awards for acting, and for us to just briefly talk about those. So let's get it out of the way, Blake.
Yeah, man. So
one out, or not pour one out. Just cheers to our boy Bong.
My God, Bong, man, you got it for Parasite. I mean,
man.
Honestly, that film is just so universal, and honestly, I really was so proud that film won. I think that was the most who didn't love Parasite?
I knew almost nothing about that movie except I'm like, oh, this guy directed Memories of Murder. That was pretty good. And then you invited me to come see it, and I saw it knowing absolutely nothing about it, and it blew me the hell away.
Right? I knew nothing about it either, man. And that's the best way that's the only way you really can see this film, I feel. It's like, you just got to go by word of mouth because it takes you on so many twists and turns. You never know where it's going to go next. And that's the best way for it to be, really.
So, when I saw the nominations, I was just happy it was nominated. But, I'm like, they're going to give it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because Hollywood and Tarantino's established. Or they're going to give it to some artsy-fartsy, I don't even know what the other ones. I figured they would give it to some biographical drama.
I was honestly nervous 1917 was going to win. And don't get me wrong, it was a well-made film. Wasn't a personal favorite, honestly. I just thought it was mostly in the camera work that made that one.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think the storytelling was very interesting, personally.
Yeah, then Parasite won Best Original Screenplay, which, I kind of was like, I think Knives Out got nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
That was a great...
I'm a huge fan of Knives Out, and I don't know if it won anything at the Oscars at all. I
don't think so.
But, I'm still such a fantastic film.
Dude, honestly, this year was just so strong for film.
It was incredible.
This has just been the best year I think we had all decade, honestly.
Probably.
We had literally, I feel like the top 10 was just all great films.
What a way to cap it off, right?
I know.
So, yeah, Parasite won Best Original Screenplay. I think, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's a great script.
Yeah.
But I think when they say Best Original Screenplay, they're saying, best, not non-adapted. Mm-hmm. But I think Parasite is a more original screenplay
I have to agree.
than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's Tarantino. He's writing about Hollywood. He's writing about old actors. But Parasite is very much about this ongoing thing.
It's very
in
relevant.
South Korean culture, and even in U.S. culture, about the divide between rich and poor.
That's everywhere, really. And I kind of feel that, too. I think Hollywood was my favorite of the year, but I still felt like Parasite... I would still say it's the more original of the two.
And if I recall, Bong Joon-ho also won Best Director for
that. Oh, he did. Yeah,
and,
which is why when you were on that, I was like, he's going to get it.
I'm so glad they just swept it. It's so good.
I know.
I love Parasite. It's fantastic. I think it's out on home video. I need to pick myself up a copy so I can have it. It's so good. It's my favorite Korean film I've seen. I've only seen a handful, but
it's my favorite
one. I like it better than Old Boy. So.
Yeah, me too. No, I like it, and I love Old Boy. But this was another level for me.
I do want to share a little piece of trivia. I read this. And it was in an interview with Bong Joon-ho from back in the day, where apparently when he was making Snowpiercer, the producer was Harvey Weinstein, right?
Oh, no.
And they're talking about a fish scene. I only saw Snowpiercer recently, so I don't remember what it was. But apparently Harvey Weinstein wanted this scene with a fish to be cut out because he thought it wasn't really good for the way the film flowed. And so Bong Joon-ho told him, he's like, oh, well, see, my father was a fisherman, and, it's just a really personal kind of scene to me. And he gets that. And Harvey Weinstein was like, oh, well, family's really important to me, too, so you're allowed to keep that in. And, immediately afterwards, Bong Joon-ho was like, that was a lie. My father wasn't a fisherman. I just wanted to get that scene in. And I love that Bong Joon-ho stuck it to that creep.
Oh, my God. So yeah, go. That's another more cool points for him, man.
There we go.
He just keeps getting cooler and cooler.
So, moving on to the acting awards, let's just start with the Best Actor and Actress awards. So I did not see Judy. I did not know that movie existed until I read the award, but Renee Zellweger won an award for
playing... When I saw that, I was like, Renee Zellweger was in a movie?
Judy Garland, and it's like, all right, well, that's a biopic, and I guess cool.
All right, I'm a little tired of the biopics, frankly. But
don't mean to write her off, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really have a firm opinion on that. But then Best Actor, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker.
Yeah, that was a great performance.
If honestly, for me, I looked at the nominations, that's a coin flip between him and Adam Driver in Marriage Story for me.
For me, it was between... Actually, honestly, my absolute favorite wasn't even nominated, and that was Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Oh, yes.
And I stand by. That was the best performance.
A24 got snubbed.
Got snubbed.
Apparently, they had some big Midsommar dance routine at the Oscars, which even though Midsommar got 0 nominations...
That's really weird.
And it's one of those things where it's like, what if... I think they planned to do that, just kind of hey, we wanted to nominate you for something or anything, not even Best Costume Design for that whole flower dress or anything. I don't know.
That's really funny, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch all of them, because I remember I was working, and I was driving to my friend's Oscar party. It was about over when I got there.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard about that. Now it's like, what? I didn't... That seems bizarre, because I don't think it got nominated for anything, like you said.
Yeah, A20... I think... I forget what it was, but I think only one A24 film got nominated for anything. But apparently they did not really campaign hard for their films, which is stupid that you'd have to campaign for it if it deserves it. It should get it.
I don't think they frankly care that much about the Oscars. I think they're just like, hey man, we're just here to make the films we want to make. I don't think they care that much.
I did see a satirical article about a confused A24 executive just assumed Parasite was their film because it's an artsy indie film. Of course, it's going to be an A24.
A24 right there, but signature.
Yeah, so Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. I only recently saw Joker, and
it was an awesome
I mean, honestly, if you took out his performance, it would be like an movie for me. But just Joaquin Phoenix in it is so good.
I love the film, honestly, I do, and I think that Joaquin Phoenix had to live up to the shadow of of Heath Ledger, and that had to be so intimidating. But he made it his own thing. It's not comparable to really any other Joker we've had, at least in film. Maybe in the comics. I didn't read much of the comics.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it was an awesome portrayal. He was very terrifying. As he descends into this just personal hellhole and madness, he's a messed up mind. It's so fun. It's just so fascinating to watch it. Really.
And Joaquin Phoenix is just so great in everything he's in.
Great actor.
I absolutely loved him in Her.
Oh yeah, The Master's always my favorite. Like I love him in The Master.
That scene where he's with I forget. It's been a minute since I've seen The Master.
Oh, Philip Seymour
Hoffman. And they're just interviewing each other, and it's just that scene's so long, but it's so just intense.
It's so intense. Every second you're just captivated. I mean, he just really gives a powerhouse performance like none other.
And
he's one of the best of our time.
This next one I'm really happy for. Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right,
for Best Supporting Actor. Oh man, Cliff Booth is such both of those characters are so entertaining, and I'm glad Brad got it. He's such an interesting character.
He's so cool in that movie, man. It's like he kind of has like a bit of a mystique, sort of like think Blondie from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, but like in a more modern type of, in its own kind of unique way. He's just cool personified, really. I mean, the whole movie, he's just so confident, man. Like, and whenever he gets in situations, like he knows exactly what to do at any given time.
Never flinches or anything. Just always keeps his cool.
And he's like the coolest friend too. It's like, dude, he's such a pal. Like I love the friendship between him and DiCaprio. I mean, I think that was like a huge like soul of the film. It's just a good buddies just hanging out. Really,
and I love the scene where he's on the rooftop and daydreams, and it's like a 30-minute long scene, and then he comes back from daydreams like, yeah, that's probably how that would go.
When he's fighting Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's so good.
Oh my gosh.
And now Best Supporting Actress went to Laura Dern for Marriage Story, which, man, her character is so you so flip-flop on her character in that movie, because when she's sitting down with Scarlett Johansson and she's like talking about it, it's like, oh wow, yeah, she really gets it. She's really getting it. And then when you like see the way she argues and the things she does, it's like, wow, this is a cold-hearted bitch.
Yeah, she does. No, you like her because I feel like Laura Dern has a real likable presence, and because I mean she's huge like in the David Lynch universe, of course. So I love her in his films. But it was cool. I think lately she's been playing a lot of kind of tough edge type of characters you want to like, but you really kind of don't.
Yeah,
and I think this was like a really good example of that. You'll see that in Twin Peaks season 3 too. She plays a character like that.
Nice.
But she's like that in this movie also, and it's a good one, really. Their story itself was just a great movie, I thought.
Absolutely, yeah.
Adam Driver Adam Driver was nominated.
He was nominated for Best Actor, yes.
Yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson was also nominated for Best Actress.
Good. They all deserved it because they were all very good.
I love me some Adam Driver. I watched like Marriage Story and The Report, and then I think that's right. I watched Marriage Story and The Report, and then I rewatched the Star Wars sequel trilogy in like the same week. So I saw like 5 Adam Driver films in like one weekend, and it was.
He's been hot this decade. I think he's only going to be hotter this next decade.
Yeah,
really.
And honestly, he's like absolutely the best part of those Star Wars sequels.
Oh yeah, no, he was awesome.
I'm so looking forward to seeing what else he's in. He's just always such an entertaining actor, and he's always such a goofball when he's like. I really want to see him in more like comedic roles.
I want to see another I want to see a role kind of like an Inside Llewyn Davis, where he's just kind of like this like Al Cody kind of character. Like I remember when he's like, bro, my place was a dump. He's just kind of like just kind of awkward, sort of just random character.
There's a great picture I sent you. I don't know if you got it. It was like a month ago or something. Where it's the scene in Inside Llewyn Davis where Oscar Isaac is like auditioning or something, and it's with Adam Driver and his band, or someone's band with Adam Driver. This is before Adam Driver really took off, so he was still kind of like this small guy in this
pre-Star Wars.
And Oscar Isaac's saying like, all right, but who wrote this? And then it like pans over and someone photoshopped J.J. Abrams' face, and then it just has Oscar Isaac looking at Adam Driver like, are you serious?
Oh, like a Justin Timberlake scene? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
funny.
So great.
Oh, that's awesome.
So good. All right, well, I think that's all of our Oscar talk.
I think that covers the basis.
So, in our song appreciation thing, our original idea was to do an album appreciation thing where we would assign albums to the other person, and they'd listen to them, and we'd discuss them, and just talk about interesting facts and what they mean to you. But it kind of got to be a chore because you got to block out the time to listen to a full album enough to talk about it, and we just never scheduled enough time. But
I've been talking about this for years, honestly, this little project.
We had this idea for like 2 years ago, so that's a little nuts.
Just do something a little doable, we decided.
I don't know why we didn't think, just pick a song.
Yeah, let's just chill out a little on it,
and,
don't overwhelm ourselves.
Most of the songs I pick are from my all-time favorite albums, so it's like, whatever. And, I can kind of tangentially talk about briefly touch on other songs in that album during these discussions and stuff.
We're the kind of guys that can talk about a song for a, extended period of time.
Absolutely.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
It doesn't particularly matter. I want to establish a few more things about how we're doing this. So I want to make sure we say who the artist is, obviously, when it was recorded, what album it's on, who wrote it specifically, because in some cases, if it's a whole band, maybe the drummer wrote it. You don't know. And it's interesting facts like that I want people to know. And it's going to be more us talking about what the songs mean to me and what we like about them. We're not musicians really, so we can't really go into music theory about them, but just anything we want to talk about these songs. Just all right. So who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay. So unfortunately, podcast people, we can't exactly play these songs for you, and we're not even going to take the risk of playing a clip for you. So we are going to.
Maybe we'll put a link with it whenever we publish.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously. Plus, it's it's the internet. You just type in the name of the song on Spotify anywhere. You'll be able to find it. You should be able to listen to these songs. If you're listening to this podcast, you have the ability to listen to these songs.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen to the songs beforehand, we can just pause the episode and go over. But we are going to make sure we play the songs right now for us, so we can have them fresh on our minds. So, do you want me to go first?
All right, that's fine.
All right, we're gonna pause this real quick. Oh wow!
What a beautiful song! Wow.
Okay,
I haven't heard that in a hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit since I just listened to it and focused on it. So my pick was "The Boxer" by Simon and Garfunkel. It's written by Paul Simon, and it's from their 1970 album "Bridge Over Troubled Water." Oh man,
yeah,
it's such a beauty, that song.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard that in a hot minute, and man, that was just it's very powerful.
It's
and I think it seems like it came out in 1970.
Yes,
and that's like that came out like just right at the height of the hippie movement. And I feel like this was a great representation of that era.
Yeah,
from what I've gathered, it sounds like a guy just feels like the big dream just may not be achievable, but he's gonna just keep fighting, keep moving.
Absolutely,
it's beautiful.
This song, I think I discovered this song at just such a perfect time in my life. 2016 was a rough year for me, which is when I really got into Simon and Garfunkel. I really specifically got into this album, Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's my favorite album by them, and it's in my top 10 favorite albums of all time.
It's a beautiful,
absolutely incredible album. It has so many different unique sounds that I think you look at Paul Simon's solo career afterwards, he continued to just try new sounds and unique things. And that's one thing I love about this album is how it never sticks with one particular sound. It's not just a folk album. It's got some bits of reggae and even some really traditional folksy sounds from other countries. But no, 2016, at the time I got into Simon and Garfunkel, I was going through a breakup and my dad was going through chemotherapy for cancer. And I was working a really awful fast food job in which I think like twice a week I had to go in at like 5 a.m. and unload a truck by myself. Yeah. And it was just the worst. And it's like I didn't listen to depressing music or like heavy metal to try to like vent my anger, but I listened to Simon and Garfunkel, and it was just kind of put me at peace. Mm-hmm. A lot of their songs are really calming, and I do
have that effect.
I remember making the decision. It's like, all right, I'm quitting this job and I'm going back to school next semester, and I just looked forward to the day where I was never have to go into that place again, and I would get out of my little tiny town and go back to school and be with my friends again and work on films and other projects again. And I recall lots of the mornings when I would go to work, I would listen to The Sound of Silence and I think Song for the Asking and always The Boxer. Especially the last line of the song, other than all the lies. In the clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade, and he carries the reminders of every glove that laid him down or cut him, till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I am leaving, but the fighter still remains. Wow. I know there's a lot of ways you can interpret that line, but my idea of me just getting out of this hell of a life and just doing something new, it's just listening to that song and then having that whole final, I guess, chorus where it just constantly builds and the strings swell and then those horns come in. It brings me to some places, man. Oh, so good, so
That's
good.
wonderful, man. That's a beautiful, beautiful take on it too. Honestly, I could tell it's a real personal song to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, for that reason.
Most songs I'm gonna pick for this series are gonna have some sort of personal effect for me.
Same, yeah.
But
it's the beauty of it, man. You know, all these songs speak to us in their own unique ways. You know,
I really love the vulnerability that's on this song. Like because I mean, it's a story. It's about a person. It talks about this person. He's not ashamed to admit that he's gotten so lonely that he's just picked up a prostitute. You know, and that's just kind of a thing that you don't.
It's very
really,
honest. Like
you don't really think about that, and just asking workman's wages, and you still can't get a job, which it's like that's so true. You can have really modest expectations and still be disappointed. It's such a fantastic song, and it's from a fantastic album, fantastic artist.
And I was sort of curious, you know, and Simon and Garfunkel, I know a lot of their hits, and they're phenomenal. But was this the last album they did together?
Their last album
before they went solo.
Yeah, they did a concert together in like the 80s as sort of a reunion thing. But yeah, this was their last album they recorded together.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was
what a way to go out.
Yeah, it was a lot of the whole recording of that album. There's a lot into it. There's a lot of stuff about Art Garfunkel wanting to focus on his acting career, and I think it's the song that comes directly after this one on the album. It's The Only Living Boy in New York, and
I know it's also a bit of a hit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. But that one is about basically Paul Simon writing about how Art Garfunkel will just go away to film his role for Catch-22, which he was actually cut out of that movie, so it's a bummer. But a lot of it is just like Paul Simon just patiently waiting. He's like, all right, buddy, come back anytime you want, you know. And it's a pretty sad song, very atmospheric. But
I gotta listen to it. I don't think I remember it very well.
Yeah, I mean, listen to the whole album again. It's
fantastic. I mean, Art Garfunkel he didn't really have that much of a successful solo career like Paul Simon did.
As like people talk about Graceland, they talk about There Goes Simon Simon and stuff. But Art Garfunkel, it's like, well, he wasn't the writer of the group, so he kind of just he did a lot of covers. I guess he tried his own stuff. I'm not well versed on Art Garfunkel's solo career, but I mean, he's still around, and you know, I'm sure he's still happy doing stuff. I think he writes poetry, actually.
Oh yeah, there we go, poet,
which makes sense that Art Garfunkel would write poetry.
I mean, that music was a lot of very poetic pieces. You know,
absolutely.
Like, my personal favorite is always America. I
think Paul Simon wrote all their songs, though.
Oh,
I think there might have been a couple that Art had a writing credit on, but I'm really not sure. I'd have to go back and check. One last thing I want to add. I really like, there's a unique instrument on this song. That's the bass harmonica. Kind of comes in. It sounds so weird, like almost like this weird twangy thing that you'd hear in some hillbilly shack, but it's just a harmonica, but it's really bassy, and it sounds really cool.
It's a great sound.
And I really love when the horns come in at the end of the song, and it's just this intensity.
I know, it just builds up and builds up, you know, just like, it just, and I love that. There's this passion that just escalates as the song progresses.
All right.
It's amazing.
Anything else to say about Boxer?
Oh no, man. Well, I think you covered the basis of that song really well, and
absolutely,
that was fantastic. So
yeah, it's great.
All right, listening to that again, dissecting it.
Okay. Oh man,
what a bopper!
What a feel good!
Whoa, what
bopper.
a feel, man!
Oh, I couldn't stop dancing on my chair there.
Man. You can't resist this song, man. It makes you want to dance. And just...
Blake, you got to tell the audience, what did we just hear?
Oh, we just heard "What Is Life" by George Harrison. This song was released in 1970 off the album "All Things Must Pass."
And I'm going to assume it was written by George Harrison.
Oh, absolutely, it was. Yes, it was.
It was actually written by Sufjan Stevens. Before he was born.
It's funny you say that because I always felt like there's a little bit of Sufjan Stevens in George Harrison.
This sounds very much like a B-side from Illinois. Yeah,
it really does in many ways. But it's just electricity, and I think what this song really means to me is that it's just a celebration of life more than anything else.
Celebration of life and love, and it's a lot of compromise. I never really paid attention to that lyric. I was like, if it's not love you need, then I'm gonna try and do something, man.
And I'll say this, you know, and I don't think the song is talking about like a girl necessarily with all this love. I think it's all about having just a good spirit in life, you know. And I think that it's a song that's it's questioning things in life, but it's also amazed by the wonder that life has to provide. And I think I discovered this song, I think, at a time when I was just coming out of a little personal depression, and I just really started to kind of just feel personally awakened by all the beauty around us. I kind of found this a little bit before I decided to get out of my shell a little more, try to get more into this filmmaking, follow my personal passions. And this song just really represents that feeling to me of just, you know, like, just embracing all that life has in store, embracing the good things, you know, embracing the overwhelming beauty there is out there. And I think George Harrison was just such a genius for this song alone. You know, I mean, so many songs he's done have just hit me in that way, but this one is really special because this is I feel like his vision fully uncaged for the first time. Because for context, this is the first album he recorded after the Beatles broke up.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was a song, I think he constructed this around the White Album, so that was 1968. Of course, Paul and John weren't going to let him, do anything with this song.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it's Paul and John.
Like, it's astonishing listening to, like, While My Guitar Gently Weeps and finding out that no one else really liked it. And the band is like,
right?
that's my favorite Beatles song.
It's the best song on the album, honestly. So it's like... I mean, that's just the thing. George Harrison, I feel like, had the best balance, I think, as far as his personal perspectives. He was he was the spiritual of the Beatles. And I think that while Paul had in a solo career, he kind of, obviously they're all awesome, but he kind of could be a little too chirpy at times. John could be a little too mopey. But George Harrison seemed to have that balance that, he understood life is difficult. It's very tough, but it's also a wonderful thing as well. And I think, again, this song captures that spirit, I think, the best of all.
I was about to say, like, this is one of those songs that is just, it's there with, like, Mr. Blue Sky. It's just got that energy where it's just like, try to be upset, pissed off, or whatever.
Yeah, try to be pissed off and listen to the song. I dare you.
It's so, like, it's just got that just rhythm to it. It just kind of never stops. Just keeps on going and going.
Yeah.
And just the instrumentation. I love how, like, for a minute you get the guitar gets to breathe for a minute and that brief little solo. And I love how the strings don't really come in towards the end. It's just
No, I know. It's just so full of passion and like a love for life in general.
Like, it's hard for me now that I brought it up. It's hard for me not to mention Sufjan Stevens. It's like
It does have that.
I'll probably do 10, 20 episodes on Sufjan Stevens songs because I love him so much. But it's very much like because Sufjan is very much also like using this variety of like brass instruments, wood instruments, and
you could definitely hear like
strings,
a
all that.
blueprint in this song for that kind of sound.
Yeah, it's reminds me so much of that.
Yeah, because this is just like Illinois is. This is also a double album that just kind of has a grand scope.
Illinois is not a double album, but it's a really
Oh, is
long.
it? Oh.
It's a really long.
It feels like a
single
double album.
It's like an hour and a half long.
I keep forgetting that. It seems Eyes of Oz is the double album, right?
No, he doesn't have any double albums actually.
Never mind.
Nope. Age of Oz is just also really long.
Right, but no. And anyways, I'll say like in general, I think that when George came out with this album, this just consisted of a lot of songs he constructed during the later years of the Beatles. But I think the album in general is just a great. It speaks well to just moving on with things. You have to accept that no matter where you're at, the album is called All Things Must Pass, and I think that really speaks for itself.
I do think it's interesting that the song is called "What Is Life," but the lyric is "What Is My Life."
Right, exactly.
Like, why do you not go for that? It's interesting.
I know, but yeah, and again, I think that's what the lyrics of the song really is. It's again, you can interpret it as like it's about it's to a girl, but I think to me it's just a spiritual.
I totally get that, but this is absolutely one of those things where like I feel like I would be with some girl that I really like, and I just play this for her. I just want to dance with her.
Oh yeah, and for sure, and I would too. Absolutely.
I mean, speaking of which, so we watched the music video for this, which was made like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm remembering correctly, isn't like the deal that like George Harrison's estate, like didn't they have like a competition or something? Or something to have like people make music videos and they just selected the ones they liked.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about that, but I will say I know what you mean because I know lately we've got a lot of like modern music videos from classic songs. Like I know there's a lot for the Beatles, George Harrison, the Velvet Underground. But yeah, and I'll say like this, I think there's this new music video that came out, and I showed this to John about a week ago.
Yeah, we just watched it again. Obviously.
Yeah, we just did, and I think this music video really brings this song like to a full life. I think this video really captures the spirit.
I mean, for those who haven't seen it, it's a quick Google search, but it's like it's just this girl in this bright yellow shirt, and she's just dancing around, just being happy, and then she eventually like towards the end of the song meets up with this guy in this forest, and they start dancing together, doing all these big just fun dance movements.
Yeah,
there's not much to it. It's just it really does represent it.
It really is just a straightforward thing. It's just like, hey man, life is a wonderful thing. It can be a wonderful thing. Just like sometimes you just got to get out and celebrate it. As the song does portray, it makes you dance, like you groove.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Oh, the cat just played the rest of the song.
What? Blue's gonna get us a copyright strike.
I know.
Right
hope you guys didn't hear that.
Oh yeah, I'll have to cut that out. All right.
Yeah, man. I think I've spoken all I have to say about that.
Well, that was really good. So that was our test run episode, and I think it went swimmingly. I do say so myself.
Yes, swimmingly fine.
We'll probably stop recording, and then Blake and I will discuss business so we can figure out exactly what we're going to do for future episodes. But yeah, for now, I'm John Queener.
I'm Blake Hall.
I guess that was the first episode of our
All right,
podcast,
we
which
did
is
it.
tentatively titled the El Burrito Podcast.
We'll see whenever we move
Tune in
further.
next week. We'll talk about other movies we've watched and stuff, and we'll discuss some new songs. Coincidentally, both our songs were from 1970.
Yes, I meant to point that out.
Well, actually, not coincidentally. Once you picked What Is Life, I was like, well, I'm going to do the box.
And you know
set.
what I like is that I think of our two choices, it makes a good companion piece in a sense, because I
Absolutely.
think your song really is like kind of a reflective song, and really very much is sort of accepting, maybe a little bit of defeat, but also finding hope within that. Maybe you could say this song is whenever the person finds that hope, But then,
Great. All right, well, we'll see you guys sometime soon. Maybe next week, maybe later than that. Depends on when we record the next episode.
All right, take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us. Hope you enjoyed us going on about what we love, and stay tuned until next time.